So this is a pretty big deal. According to Daniel RPK, Spider-Man 4 will feature a new female love interest. Black Cat is a potential choice, but the official casting will be announced soon. Now, there have been a lot of rumors of different people that were going to be cast. Like this lady, Madeline Klein, was apparently rumored. Sydney Sweeney has been rumored. And I think the place we're going here, right, when you bring up Black Cat, a lot of people are thinking Sydney Sweeney is Black Cat. This is a big fan casting out there. Let me see if I want to pull this up for you just to kind of explain and show you where the fandom is at. It's good to just kind of know where the fandom is at so you kind of understand it, right? As a fellow nerd, right? So I have a little meme up on the screen for you guys here to just kind of soak it in. But I think this would be huge. Peter Parker does get the ladies, and he has had various love interests throughout the years of comics. And of course, like Mary Jane, MJ is like his sort of main one. And a lot of the tension and love triangles that are built around this are kind of built on like, oh, well, maybe Mary Jane's not perfect for Peter. Maybe it is Felicia, right? And Felicia can connect to Peter on a level that Mary Jane cannot, right? And that's the Spider-Man level. So Peter being Spider-Man and going out with Black Cat and experiencing, that, which, by the way, Black Cat gets a version of the super soldier serum in the 90s cartoon, which would be really cool. I wonder if they'll put that into Spider-Man 4 in general. But that's always been interesting, right? Black Cat, Spider-Man, they have a thing. Peter and MJ, they have more of a thing together. And it's an interesting part of the lore. And I think it would build very interesting tension for the film. Now, the other thing that's wild, right, is Felicia Hardy is an absolute babe. Like, Black Cat is a babe. The reason people want Sydney Sweeney is because, like, they have similar features, let's just say. And I think the fandom would go nuts for that. And let's also realize, and I've actually been making this argument for years here, that desire and sex appeal has always been an important part of the comics. This is true of like the sort of ideal male form and the way they build up their male characters to be like idealized forms of masculinity. It's the same thing with females, like super hot female superheroes. And one of the problems that Marvel has had for a long time is they've, for some reason, decided that sex appeal, attractiveness, and desire was not appropriate or good for the Disney brand overall. But it's been silly. Right? I made this point before. Like, if you look at the Marvels, you've got three actresses. You've got Tiana, you have Brie Larson, and then you have Iman. And Iman's like much younger, so like take her out of the discussion. But even Iman, when she dresses herself in a much more attractive way. You go look at the photos that Brie Larson posts of herself. You go look at the outfits that Brie Larson wears when she goes on talk shows. Same thing with Tiana. They are very comfortable with their femininity and their attractiveness. And yet, you look at the suits and you look at what's going on in the Marvels, and it's like they took all the sex appeal away. And it's weird. It feels inorganic and weird, particularly with Captain Marvel, because, dude, in the comics, Captain Marvel's a babe. And I just don't think there's anything wrong with wanting our superheroes and our superhero ladies to be babes. I really don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think Marvel sort of cut off a huge avenue of attention and of the aspects of fandom when they decided to make this call. Now, you look at X-Men 97. And X-Men 97, even though it's a cartoon, has a lot more sex appeal and desire in it. Frankly, It's a horny show. Part of that might come from one of the lead writers, but I also feel that it fits for the X-Men overall. Brad Winderbaum did a really interesting commentary on this. He was directly asked in an interview about the horniness of X-Men 97, and his answer was great. He says there's desire on every page of every X-Men comic that ever was. And because the X-Men is somewhat of a metaphor for coming of age, going out of child, becoming adult, that change, that desire, and some of those things that come from that are appropriate for that allegory. Okay, so that's a long-winded, sophisticated way of saying I would really like it if they cast an absolute bombshell and had that person play Felicia Hardy. I think it would be awesome to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man in his new life, especially because he's going to be potentially getting the Venom symbiote. And so that's like another level of toxic masculinity, like just call it what it is. So that would be kind of interesting to see too, right? Like a Spider-Man with the Venom suit and Felicia Hardy looking like a fucking snack, and have that tension and have that built into the plot of Spider-Man 4. I think it's a W. I think it's comic accurate. I hope it's Sydney Sweeney. And also, like, what does Zendaya think about this? Because is she going to be mad? Is she going to be chill? Will people on the internet be really weird about it and make all kinds of memes and jokes? Yes. So I feel, yeah, Sydney Sweeney, Black Cat, love interest for Peter Parker, being cast for Spider-Man 4. Comic book movies, having sexy superhero ladies. I'm all for it. I think it's good. Would love to know your thoughts about this. Do you agree? I mean, do you think this is a good move? Do you think that this is maybe a sign that Marvel's just kind of getting back to fan service? I mean, I don't want to get too crazy on this point, but you look at anime, right? Last thing I'll say about it. You look at anime, and anime puts, let's call it fan service, right front and center. They don't hide that shit. They flaunt that shit. And anime is insanely popular. So I think maybe you look at that, you look at the boys, you look at what's working out there. Are we about to see an era of like sex appeal re-entering the comic book movie, comic book genre? I don't know, but I would not mind that. And I think this is actually really good news. It doesn't get me as excited as like, you know, Null or Ghost Rider, some of these other things. But it would be pretty good if they did include this. So that's the report. Those are my thoughts. Would love to know your thoughts about this. What do you think?